What's good, y'all? Welcome to my review for Batman and Superman Battle of the Super Sons. Just finally finished up watching it. You guys won't be seeing... I'm recording this review on the 26th. You guys will not see this till next week because... And the main reason why it took me so long to actually finally get around to watching this was, one, school, obviously. But I wanted to wait till around the time Hiroaka was wrapping up, if not when it already wrapped up, so I can then record the review so I had the review ready for you guys the following week. Because I don't know if I mentioned this previously, but whenever, like, you know, when Hiroaka wraps up, I like to, like, maybe if I can, to always have something Superman related for at least one more week after it airs, just so you know, so we have one more something superhero related for the Saturday after Hiroaka ends, just for one more week to keep it going. But yeah, so that's kind of why it took so long for this review to come out, or for me just to watch in general, as well as school, man. But regardless of such, man, this movie was fucking amazing, man. I love this movie, and I hope that we do get more Super Sons movies in the future from DC, or at the very least we see just more movies in general from the anime with Damian and Jonathan Kent, because my god, I love these two. You guys already know how much I love Damian, but Jonathan Kent I fucks with too. I really fucks with this kid after watching this movie, man. So yeah, let's just jump right in. So as always, the movie is directed by Matt Peters and of course stars Jake Griffo, Jack Daniel Grazer, Troy Baker, Laura Bailey, Travis Williamson, Willingham, Willingham, I don't know how you pronounce his last name, Nolan North, and many more. And the plot of Battle Super Sons is Jonathan Kent and reluctant young sidekick Damian Wayne are burdened with saving the world from an impending doom. The two must fight joint forces to rescue their fathers and save the planet by becoming the superheroes they were intended to be. Now, first off, the cast is great. I want to quickly talk about, of course, Damian and Jonathan Kent's voice actors, Jack Griffo and Jack Daniel Grazer. First off, Jack Daniel Griffer, he is fucking incredible as Jonathan. I would dare say, I mean, it's probably not really fair to say, considering this is like, I'm pretty sure this is the first like role Jonathan Kent has had in anything that's actually voiced that wasn't in a comic. But I would dare say he is like the definitive voice of Jonathan. I love him, and I think he's perfect in the role. He is amazing. I love this kid. So yeah, I definitely hope he continues voicing Jonathan for years to come, man, because he's amazing. I love him. Now let's talk about Damian. You guys know I love Stuart Allen. You guys know. If you guys saw my previous reviews, you guys know how much I love Damian. I love how much I love Damian in the DCAU. And, you know, I consider Stuart Allen the definitive voice of Damian. When I think Damian, it's him. Nobody else should be voicing Damian but him, in my personal opinion. But obviously, it's not the world we live in. He is the Josh Keaton for Damian, in my personal opinion. So obviously, I was a little disappointed when they did switch him out for this new Super Boys, for the new Super Sons movie when the trailer came. But it makes sense, you know, this isn't DCAU. It's a completely other thing, so it makes sense DC would want to have someone else voicing him. Probably someone that probably is a little bit younger, because, you know, Damian's a kid again, not a grown-ass man like he was in Apocalypse War. But in all, man, Jack Griffo, I thought he was great as Damian. I thought he was fantastic in the role, man. And yeah, I think he definitely leans way more into like the more, I guess, edgy broodingness, if you want to say, of Damian, the darkerness, rather compared to how Stewart did, because, you know, his voice is a lot deeper in this movie compared to how Stewart voiced him, at least when he was a kid. In the previous, in like Son of Batman vs Superman, and when Damian was a lot younger in the DCAU compared to where he was in Apocalypse War, as well as his mini cameo in Batman Hush. But overall, man, I thought he was a great voice for Damian, and I would be glad, and I'd be down to see him portray Damian more in future films, like I mentioned before. The same with Jack Daniel Grazer. Now, another one that's a stand for me is Troy Baker as Batman. He's fucking perfect, man. I want more Troy Baker as Batman. He is amazing. Like, I would dare say he's probably one of my favorite Batman VAs. Yes, I am biased and saying because I do just genuinely live Troy Baker's work. You guys know how much I love him in, you know, in Baki. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that a couple times, how much I love his role as his performance as Baki in the Baki anime. And of course, you know, voice a bunch of characters in animes as well. You know, Joel, all that shit, man. I love Troy Baker. But yeah, I thought he was fantastic in the role as Batman, man. And I hope we see more of him as Batman, because he's amazing and I want to see more. Laura Bailey I thought was great as Lois Lane as well. And Travis Willingham, if I'm pronouncing his name right, who you guys remember played Thor in the Marvel's Avengers game, which I knew his voice sounded familiar, but once I saw it, I was like, yep, that's why he sounds familiar. I thought he was great Superman as well, man. The rest of the cast I thought was fantastic as well. But yeah, the cast is solid. Another thing we got to talk about real quick is the animation. Now the movie is CG, and I'm almost like 90% certain that this movie was outsourced to a Japanese anime CG studio. Just given the overall art style looked a bit anime-ish, and just the overall way how the CG looked a lot like how a lot of CG animes look these days. I'm not sure entirely if you guys can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. You guys know the exact studio that did work that DC like outsources to, but I thought the animation looked really good. If it is done by a Japanese anime studio, I thought by Japanese anime standards, the CGI looked really good. But obviously, I would prefer if they went with like a more typical 2D style like they've done in previous DC anime movies, or went with that same anime studio they did for that Catwoman movie they did a while back. But overall, I thought the CGI looked really good, man, and I wouldn't be opposed if they brought it back for maybe a sequel to the Super Sons movie. But obviously, I would have preferred if they went 2D. But the CGI overall looked really good. One thing I also gotta say I love about this movie is I loved how the movie starts off, where after it like goes through Superman's initial origins for the umpteenth time about him, about John, about Jor-El and everyone sending him off Krypton and on to Kansas and everything. After that, they do this little montage of basically giving us Superman's life story up to like when Jonathan was born, or when he got married to Lois and revealed his identity as Superman to her. The way it's shot and everything, it's like a motion comic, but the art style itself is very reminiscent of a Silver Age comic, which looked really fucking cool, man. I love that look. I love the animation and or I should say, the art style for that little montage of the start of the movie, man. It looked really fucking good, man. Loved it, man. Another thing I loved about this movie was Jonathan Kent himself. Now, this was my first like proper introduction to him. Obviously, I've known of this kid for a while now, since when the Super Sons comic originally came out, and of course when DC decided to age him up and all that shit. You had all that going on recently in like the last couple of years. I've known of him for a while, but I haven't really been ever really introduced to him because I haven't read the Super Sons comic yet. Although, no lie, after watching this movie, I kind of want to go back and read it. Honestly, I don't know how much this movie actually adapts from that comic. If any of you guys who have actually read the Super Sons comic that came out in like 2017, I think, is when that comic came out, and when it started publishing. Tell me in the comments down below, man. Which actually funny enough, if my theory was right, and this was outsourced to an anime studio for the animation, that's kind of funny because the original comic itself, the art style, the artwork of it, kind of definitely had a bit more of a manga inspired type art style to it. So it's kind of funny that the comic, which had a manga inspired art style, would actually have an anime studio, doing its first proper adaptation. So I think it's kind of funny if that is true. This was outsourced to an anime studio, but I love Jonathan Kent. I thought he was a really cool character, man, and I really want to see a lot more with the kid. I love his relationship. I love his relationship with his family relationship with Lois and Clark. Obviously, his interactions with Damien are, of course, the highlight of the movie, man. And overall, I really like this kid. I would love to see more of him, man. I really like Jonathan Kent, man. He's awesome. Obviously, Damien is also really well done in the movie as well. I love his characterization. A lot of the nuance why I love him so much from the DCAU as well as in the comics, or at least the comics of him that I've read, is all here to account for. Like with him, kind of like with the Teen Titans, man. Which for some reason, the Teen Titans this movie, but yet Raven is nowhere to be seen. But there's Beast Boy. But hey. Kind of weird, but who knows? Maybe the next Super Sons movie they'll be like brought into the Teen Titans, and maybe that's when Raven will get introduced, and Davy Ray will once again be a thing again. But, which, whatever. But hey, at the very least, I got to see Damien throw an explosive battering into Beast Boy's mouth. So, as a Damien Ray shipper, I took great pleasure in seeing that. Because fuck Beast Boy. Damien Ray OTP, fuck you. Anyway, guys, love Damien's characterization in the movie, man. I thought it was really well done. Love Jonathan Kent as a character, man. And obviously, their dynamic between Jonathan and Damien was obviously the highlight of the movie, man. As I mentioned before, their chemistry between the two actors is great, man. And yeah, I want more Super Sons movie just for more of these two interacting, man. I love these two. They interact so well together, and I just love their overall just like friendship as the movie progresses on the movie, where David actually starts to like kind of be like yo, bro, I got you kind of thing with Jonathan around the end of the movie, man, which was really nice to see, man. And just I love these two, man, and I want to see more. Like I said, they work so well together, man. This is kind of also why I want to go back and read the Super Sons comic from 2017, man. But yeah, love these two, and I want to see more of them. Besides that, man, the only problems I had with this movie was with the animation. Now, I mentioned before how I overall thought the CG animation was overall really good, and it is, but there were definitely times where it definitely did look a little off. First of all, there's some parts of the animation does look really stilted. Sometimes with background characters, like with walking, or there's some times where like Damien is clapping and the animation does not look that great. It looks very stilted, man. The particle effects with like the water and in certain places, as well as fire as well. definitely looked off in a couple places as well. But besides that, man, this movie was phenomenal, man. And obviously, I would highly recommend you guys check this movie out. If you guys have HBO Max, it's been up there for a few months now, so definitely you guys go check it out there, or buy the Blu-ray. Always great to help to support physical media. That's always a plus. Always do that. But yeah, man. Anyway, guys, overall I'm gonna give this movie a 9 out of 10, guys. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like if you did, subscribe if you're new. Follow me on my socials if you feel like it. Links down below. And as always, come back for more. See you guys next time.